Okay, and we are live. Welcome everyone to Through the Portal, the space where vision, creativity, and conversation come alive in real time. Today I have Dina Berrin with me. Dina's work lives in the place where something is already known before it can be named. Her work as a guide, coach, and author asks a quiet but persistent question: what becomes possible when we stop overriding what we already sense to be true? Welcome, Dina.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria. I'm so happy to be here.
Ah, wonderful. Yeah, why don't we start out with you telling us a little bit about your work and yourself?
Sure. Well, my work, what I do now is that I am a certified life coach, and I am also an intuitive guide who works with the tools of tarot, numerology, astrology, and charms, and my intuition. And what I do is I work with women who are at a crossroads. Maybe they're tired of the perfectionism, the people pleasing, and living their lives on autopilot. And what I do is I help them remember who they are and start living from a place that's more authentic and true to who they are, even when it's hard, because it's hard to start living that way. So I look at my work as transformation from the inside out. And it's the work that saved me. And now I get to share it with others. I even wrote a book about it.
Yeah, what's your book called?
My book is called The Way Within: Igniting Your Intuition Using Sacred Tools. And those sacred tools that I talk about in the book are tarot, numerology, and charms.
Awesome. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about um, what drew you towards this work.
Well, what drew me, this is kind of like it's like a Venn diagram of things that drew me to this work. So for a long time, I mean, for my whole life, I've been interested in all things divination. My grandmother introduced me to astrology when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I have been interested in all things divination since then. But I did go to college. I got a degree in exercise physiology, and for a while, I worked in fitness. And through my job in fitness, when I was working really crazy hours, I was just looking for something that wasn't work. I found an introduction to tarot class, which began my formal education in tarot. And I have always been interested in this work. And always, whenever I did work, first when I was working in fitness, and then when I left fitness to take a job working in sales, placing people in medical and nursing professions through staffing. So I was working in placement. And always I did my tarot and my little work on the side. I feel like everybody's got a little side gig, and my side gig was doing readings. I would do parties, I would do events, and it was just like a really great way for me to stay connected, not only to myself but also to the work that I loved, and I could work with other people and make a difference to them. And somewhere along the way, when I realized that my readings were like, I was very good at reading, but I felt as though there wasn't a whole lot of back and forth. And I
Mhm.
wanted to find a way to go deeper, which is why I decided to go and get a coaching certification. And I went and I got a coaching certification that was called coactive coaching. And what coactive coaching is like, we work together. It's not like I'm the coach and you're the like the coachee kind of thing. It's not like a teacher student situation. It's like two partners working together for a common good. And what I did is I combined my coaching with my tarot. And as I was starting to work on that, my world kind of blew up a little bit. I was still working in corporate. I was still working in a sales job. And at the time, I was trying to juggle like my little side divination thing on the side and do my regular job. And I also had 3 kids, one of whom was really struggling. My son was really struggling at the time, and I realized that I was being spread really thin, and I didn't quite know how to balance my life. And at the same time that that was going on, one of my very close colleagues at the sales job that I had been at, he was a real rainmaker at the place. And it is someone who was like a really down to earth, like everybody loved him kind of guy, got very sick. And he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. He was 54 years old. And he went from being a vibrant, healthy, dynamic guy. Um, like the illness happened pretty quickly. It took over fast. And within 5 months, he was gone,
Mm-hmm.
which was a really big wake up call, because I think that what happens is we push ourselves in our lives to just go and do and just kind of like not really look at where maybe the decisions that we make aren't serving us in a way that would be something that could be like a long term. Like I just realized that like I was kind of like running on fumes. I had an empty tank, and I just was like every single minute of my day was filled, and I was just like I wasn't spending a lot of time thinking what it is that I should be doing. I was just doing it out of like a little bit of desperation and a little bit feeling quite lost, to be honest. And actually, it was very interesting. So this was this coworker who got sick. He was a good friend of mine, but we always talked about work when we were at work. But what happened was when he got sick and then he was no longer able to work and come to work, we started texting and just kind of, I was checking in on him. I just wanted to let him know that I was thinking about him and, hear how his day was going, because clearly his illness was definitely progressing. And I would share with him how inspirational he'd been to me, and just how he was such a, he was extremely successful, and he didn't need to be magnanimous and generous with his time, with his, resources and everything, but he always was. And one of our conversations one day, he said to me, I just want to share something with you, because now we're having these conversations. And he said, I would never have said this to you while we were working in the office together. He said, but I'm seeing life differently now that my time is short, and I don't, he didn't, he was saying he didn't know what the future bring, but what the future was bringing wasn't anything positive for him. And he said, I wish I didn't work so hard. I wish I didn't give everything I had just to work. And he said to me, you need to leave. He said, you need to leave the office. You need to go where you're needed. Obviously, my son was having a very difficult time. And I just felt like everything in my life was calling me out on the decisions that I was making. And interestingly, it was just a couple of months before COVID that this happened. So if I had, and so already the wheels were turning right before COVID happened. But when COVID struck, I thought to myself, I have to leave. Like this life, like I need to be where I feel like I'm serving in a way that makes a difference. Not that's just I'm just churning into some big corporate machine that isn't going to really have anything to show for itself at the end of the day. Like I really wanted to make a difference. I really wanted to make an impact. And that was where the rubber hit the road and I made my pivot. So I feel as though it was a bunch of things that got me in motion, but I realized that giving all of my time away and having myself be at the bottom of my own list of priorities wasn't working anymore. It wasn't working for anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you see that a lot with people you work with, that disconnect from themselves and kind of living this, I don't know, I don't want to call it fake, but somehow, like this life that doesn't serve anyone, especially not themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I see that a lot in clients that I work with. A lot of these women that begin working, because I mean, I always say that I work with women that feel like they are at a crossroads. So a lot of these women that I work with feel as though this has been a story that's been repeating in their head for quite some time. But like me, it's like I had felt this was coming for, maybe a year or even two before I actually made a change, because change is scary. But what happens was I've watched these women come to me that are at that crossroads, and I can tell when they are finally ready to make a decision, ready to make a choice and make it be, different so they can live a better life. But they come to me and they feel invisible. They feel depleted, and they feel like they don't have any agency. They don't have any power left in their lives. And, they think that their needs don't matter. And, I feel as though like they're finally ready to set boundaries in their lives so they can take control again. So I have witnessed it, and it's really hard to, when you're in it, it's harder to see yourself with some perspective. But this is why I really enjoy working with this group, because I feel as though they're finally in a place where they're willing to make a change.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I like how you said the agency that's not there, and I think that's something that we see in this current Western society a lot, is where people are essentially, it's normalized to be more of a machine, disconnected from your own inner life and from your community, right? From the important, like what really matters in your life or in our lives. Why are we here on earth? And um not having a way to serve ourselves and others. So yeah, I definitely see that as a disconnect, and kind of that is the norm. That is what people aspire to, or believe to, that they aspire to that, or are taught to aspire to. And I think that kind of mirrors a little bit in what you were talking about before with me, about your own struggle, the tools that you found, right?
Yeah.
And I do want to talk a little bit more about the tools, but I remember you said something about how there was always something you felt like you had to hide, and it wasn't even welcome in the spaces, and especially in the corporate spaces. And those are the tools that are now really helping, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that people are taught from a young age that certain things, well, like, in the world, certain things are acceptable and certain things are not quite as acceptable. And it's funny because I see it, even in my daughters when they were younger, like a lot of times, and when, if there was that metaphorical bring your parent to work day, bring your parent to school day kind of thing. And, a lot of the moms at the school, like there's lawyers and there's bankers and there's doctors and there's all these women that have like real life jobs, and my kids are like, oh my god, please do not come and talk about the fact that you read tarot cards. It's like not one of those things that's accepted. And also, like when we're growing up, based sometimes on religious background or just experiences that, maybe elders in our family or role models that we've worked with had, sometimes these tools were considered to be unacceptable, or, kind of like, I don't truly feel like they understood the nature of the work. I mean, I don't really look at this work as religious. I look at more of like spiritual, like you would look at yoga or meditation as being spiritual. Like this to me, these are tools that I use. But I do think that there is a sector of the world that thinks it's weird, and that they don't necessarily subscribe to the or identify with the idea of working like in this quote unquote with these woo tools, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So I felt as though when I was in certain groups, and even when I was at work, I remember like a lot of my coworkers knew that I did this kind of like on the side, and they would come to my desk and they would be like, what's up with this full moon? Or what's going on with Mercury retrograde? Or I've got a birthday coming up. Can you give me like, they would come to me, and my boss would see them coming to my desk, he'd hear them, what they're asking, and he pulled me aside and he said to me, listen, I do not care what you do. in your free time.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are here in my office, sitting at a desk, in my hearing, I can hear what's going on. He said, not here. I don't want to
Yeah.
see it. I don't want to hear it. It's not welcome.
Yeah.
And so in some places I felt it, but absolutely, I was also told it wasn't welcome.
Yeah.
And and I felt as though by not sharing that part of me, it worked for me in some ways, because then it was like one less way that I could be judged, one less thing that people could, maybe, because I feel like, you when you're trying to, like always, like even in your adult life, when you're meeting people, it's like you don't want to give people reasons why they shouldn't invite you in, why they shouldn't include you, or something like that. So I'm like, you know what, they don't need to know that about me until they do, kind of thing. So but when I started to kind of like share more about it, it surprised a lot of people, but I have been pleasantly surprised with how welcomed and how well it has been received. Because I know that at earlier times in my life, when I've introduced people to the fact that I was studying it, or beginning to do work with it, sometimes people would be like, really? You believe in that kind of thing? And I don't know, I still have this internal push and pull, but I feel as though as I've done this work for longer, I care less. And I think that that's the important thing. Like, you can't be worried about what everyone else is going to think or what everybody else is going to say, especially now, because the world is a really crazy and complicated place. I think that it's really important for you to find your safe place and to connect with a community of people that you can that you can allow yourself to be seen in front of, and not worry about what they're going to think or possibly say about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, so I feel as though I have found those communities, and I have definitely found an amazing group of people within this work that is nothing but warm and loving and welcoming and supportive, and a million things that I am so grateful for having in my life every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking about when you were talking about your boss and how it's not accepted in society. I was just thinking, well, if it was anything else, like, oh, you're sharing gardening advice or something, nobody would have bat an eye, right? And
Right. And they have,
also,
like, they do like fantasy football at the office. Like, they do all that kind of sports stuff. And that
yeah,
was not a problem. But my stuff
yeah,
was a little bit too off center for them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I also thought it was interesting when you were talking about your kids at school. I wonder, you know, what age were they when that happened? I'm thinking like if they would have been younger, they probably wouldn't have cared or would have actually found it interesting.
Well, this is probably when they were like in maybe like seventh or eighth grade. So maybe when they
Hmm.
were like in their, like, maybe like 12, 13, 14, when everything is
Everything is
embarrassing.
embarrassing. Yes, exactly.
But it's funny when my I have two daughters and a son, but my oldest, when she was a little girl, I got her an Alice in Wonderland tarot deck, and I still have that deck. I still love that deck, and she's very intuitive, my oldest, and although she hasn't made a lot of use of that Alice in Wonderland tarot deck, she does have a very strong sense of her intuition. So I feel as though I have raised children that have a strong sense of who they are.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's important to me.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about those tools and
Okay.
why
Yeah.
and what did like how you use them and why.
So I originally started with tarot, and tarot, I feel as though the tarot is the storybook of our lives. There are 78 cards in the deck, and there is a card that describes every type of situation you can imagine. And the tarot just opened up this colorful world to me, and it was just a way. And you know, within the tarot deck there are astrological associations. Within the tarot deck there are numbers, so there's a numerology connection. There are colors, there are images, so we work with symbolism. So there's so many different ways to get messages from the cards. So from someone who has literally never laid their eyes on a deck before, you could pick up a deck, turn it over, and see, like, oh, there's a tree in this card. Like, most people have associations with the concept of a tree. So if that were the case, I would just ask, what does a tree mean to you? Or is there a color in the card that you see a lot of? Or maybe, you know, it's like, oh, there's a lot of yellow in this card. Okay, well, yellow to me, like, yellow is the color of the sun, and the sun is about clarity, it's about intention, it's about focus. So what are you getting clear on right now? What's your intention? What are you focused on? Kind of thing. It's like, you don't have to get like a big, long life reading from the tarot. Sometimes it can just be like a little nugget to kind of keep you going or get you centered if you're feeling a little bit off that day. But I studied the tarot for 8 years with my teachers, and the reason why I stayed for 8 years is funny. They taught every Monday night, and I just kept on going for 8 years every Monday night, because what they would do is every year they would go through the entire tarot deck. But every year it would be in a different way. So I call this the rotisserie chicken effect, because you know how, like, you got to rotate the chicken in the rotisserie. So like the first year I went, maybe they taught through the upright meanings of the cards. And then the second year they teach the reversed meanings of the cards. And then they teach the cards through titles. They teach the card through functions of the card. There's so, through the astrological associations, every year they would just keep on rotating the chicken, and I kept on learning new ways that these cards were, you know, able to operate, and you were able to use them. So when I do a reading with someone, you know, you have cards that are assigned to you at your birth date. They're called your birth cards. And these cards talk about your lessons and your challenges and your learning, the things that you are here to do in this lifetime. And it's really comforting. Like, I remember when I learned about my birth cards, it like completely changed the way that I saw my experience in the world. Like, this, just for example, one of the meanings of my birth cards are that I am unconventional. Like, that is actually one of the meanings. And I thought to myself, yes, that is a word that I would use for myself, because I am unconventional in the fact that I have been interested in this like since I was about 7 years old. And I've just found different ways to continue learning and expanding my work within this knowledge that I, you know, can't seem to get enough of. But it is an unconventional route. And knowing that, all of a sudden, it was like I had won the Willy Wonka golden ticket. It was like I had been given permission to do this work because, hey, I'm unconventional. It seemed like it just kind of fit. So things like that, you're able to and you can do the same thing with numbers. Like, all of these tools have ways that you are connected to it through your birth date, and through your name, and through all these different things that you came into this world with. And having you explained to yourself in a way that you can understand who you are, I think that it really is very helpful, especially for a lot of these women that I am working with that have lost themselves because they've given away so much of their time and attention and, I mean, everything to satisfy a demanding boss, or to, you know, to help, you know, raise a family, to be there for ailing parents, like whatever it is. I feel like women are kind of in that, like, they're always getting kind of smushed in between what they want to do and then what they need to do in order to be accepted in this world. And it's a hard place to be. It's a really hard place to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Yeah, and I can see that, with the cards that because as you said, all of them are scenarios that you find in your life, and kind of it being a connection to your subconscious in a way too, where you will see the things that you need to see and need to hear that you probably already know. It's just, you know, using
Mhm.
the cards is a good way to unlock that and connect to that inner knowing, right?
Yeah, and that's all that we're looking for. And what I'm looking to do is also teach, and I'm not just saying to women, but to men also, how to create a relationship with your intuition. Because I look at intuition as the original language. Like, I feel like that is what we are born with. And then what happens is, as we are brought up, we are taught to not trust the intuition, but to instead go to logic. Like,
Mhm.
if it makes sense here, it isn't always accepted in the everyday world. So, people might want to be like, well, where did you get that answer? Well, how do you know that's true? Like, can we see the math on that kind of thing? So I think that what people do is, instead of trusting themselves, what they do is then they go towards logic. And a lot of times we get into what I call analysis paralysis, where sometimes we just can't make a decision because we don't know, like, how to kind of make the math work, so to speak. But I feel as though the answers are always here. We're just not always taught to trust that, especially
Mhm.
growing up.
Mhm. Yeah, and that also kind of defeats the whole. I mean, it's kind of funny because that really goes against the scientific method of trial and error, because you trust whatever decision you make, you know, um, there's some path in that, right? And then you go that path. Like you can't, if you live your life without ever deciding anything, then you're not living your life.
I agree. That's really that's an excellent statement. And then how do you really know? Like, are you making the decision, or is somebody else making the decision for you?
Hmm. Well, and the thing is, realistically, yes, I mean, it's good to reason and use logic to, you know, kind of go and be like, okay, I don't want to do the craziest thing ever, but and if it's obviously there's, so you have to weigh what's good or bad, but or what could be the outcomes. But realistically, even with analysis, you never know. You can never know. You can never know 100% and easily. And intuition, or the way I look at intuition, is it's really like your body, and there is some, inner knowing that is, um, in a way, analyzing input as well, but in a different way. It's in, and you have a knowing um, that is more subconscious, but it's also faster, you know. Um, it's like pattern recognition, right?
Yeah, and that's a lot of what tarot reading is. Like, I look for patterns. I look for things that are showing up again and again, and then you begin to wonder, like, how is this thing that keeps showing up? Like, is this intentional? Is this serving you? Or is it actually costing you
Hmm.
your ability to decide?
Yeah. So what's your feeling on where are you going with this? What are you trying to do, or why are you doing this? Why is this so important for yourself and for your clients or for the world itself?
Yeah, well, it's really important because we're living in a time when many women are realizing that the old ways just aren't working anymore. Like, the people pleasing, the self-sacrifice, the shrinking to fit. And I feel as though we are at a crossroads as a society, even. And I believe the world needs women who are deeply connected to their truth and to their intuition. When a woman comes to herself, she changes everything around her. She when she and to her children, to her relationships, to her work. Like when she's honoring who she wants to be in the world, everything changes. So what I'm looking to do is be a part of not just personal healing, but really do like generational healing. Like when I help a woman break the habit of putting herself last, her children see new possibilities. Her friends and her coworkers feel change. It's like a little bit of a quiet revolution, to be honest. And this is changing the legacy that we leave behind. Like I want to show my daughters that they can do whatever it is that's in their heart, that they can get on stage and do something that might embarrass them. Just like I made a choice to choose a career that maybe was not the most comfortable and the most accepted, but I do love it and it does make me happy. So was it
Mm-hmm.
worth it? For me, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Well, do you want to go a little bit into that inner vision, your
Yes, I would
vision?
love to. I would love to.
All right. So everyone who's been on has viewed this podcast before knows that we go into a visualization practice, and I'm gonna lead Dina into her inner vision space, and then we're gonna bring that inner vision out. All right. You ready? You can close your eyes.
Okay.
And everyone watching can do it as well if they feel like it. And we just breathe. There's no right or wrong here. Just however your body wants to breathe. And we want to relax into our seat, into our body. So when you inhale, just scan through your body if there's any tense muscles. And breathe out, relax them. Breathe in and breathe out to relax even more. Just feel yourself in your seat, the connection to the ground. Feel that gravity, that weight, the connection to the earth, our earth, the earth that we are made for, and that holds us always with her gravity. As long as you live your whole life, she's always there. I want you to gently place your attention on your heart. And breathe into your heart. Place with love and connection, heartbreak, sorrow that you feel, and that makes you extend love, your passions. Just breathe the energy. You can imagine kind of this energy growing around your heart. And then gently imagine a channel of energy from your heart up to the space between your brows, space of vision, imagination. And breathe into there now. Still connected to the heart. Just gather the energy. And from that energy, let's create an inner portal or doorway that will lead you to your inner space of vision, the way you make sense of your path, of your mission, of your vision of a future that you want to bring into this world and help bring into this world. And then let's go into the space through our portal. Let it surround you, engulf you. And there can be a dog in there too, that's okay. And let's explore it with our senses. First, let's focus on our sense of smell. What do you smell in this space of vision? What kind of smells? And then let's shift to our sense of hearing. What kind of sounds are in this space? Loud or soft, gentle? And then let's go to our sense of touch. Feel the quality of the air, any movement, any textures nearby that you can feel, how the ground feels under your feet. If there's any temperature, warm, cool, maybe there's sun. And then I want you to look around with your sense of sight in this inner space. Let's look in the close by. What is close by? And what is in the distance? Anything that stands out to you, and you can imagine moving through this space to explore and maybe look at something that stands out to you a little bit closer. And I just want you to come to kind of a stillness, just taking it all in, the whole space, just as it is. What does it feel like? What kind of feelings and emotions come up? And if this place had a voice, a message for you, what would it say? What do you need to hear on this path of yours? What is it you need to know right now? And then I want you to extend gratitude for this space. Gently saying goodbye, knowing that this space is always there for you to return to. And then we slowly leave through the portal back into our body. Just feel yourself sitting in your body. Maybe move your fingers. Breathe, and you can open your eyes. We're back.
That was lovely.
All right. Let's explore. Let's share. I'm going to switch my camera to my paper. It might take a little while.
Okay.
Sometimes it doesn't want to switch right away. Hold on. There we go. There we go.
I can see it.
Yeah. All right. Let's walk me through it. What happened when you went through the portal?
So
What did you see?
it was like it was a beautiful nature scene. First, it was just a lot of green. Like I was walking through like trees that were just like in bloom, like big leaves, but they were like soft and welcoming. Um, and so I was like in nature, and it smelled so good. It was just like the air was so fresh. And remember, you asked like, what did it feel like? And I could feel like the bark of one of the trees that I walked by. It was very like bumpy and like full of different shapes and everything on there. Um, and then when I kept like going deeper and looking, I was looking for something. You told me to look closer and like kind of zero in on something. And it's funny, it was first everything was like just like mostly like trees and green, but then this like it was almost like the most vibrant form of purple I can think of. Like a flower came into view, and it was like blooming like I had never seen such an exotic and gorgeous purple flower. And it was just, I don't know, it was just like speaking to me. It was so beautiful and so open, and like I felt like it was inviting me to continue to go deeper and explore. And then in the distance, I did hear a little like what sounded like water, like there might be water somewhere. I looked around, I couldn't see water, but I felt like I could hear it. And
Mm-hmm.
So I was just following. I felt like the message was to like follow the purple flower. So I was following it, and then when I got closer to it, I when I looked like just past it, there was like a tunnel or like a cave or like something that was like, it was like an archway that was like, it just opened. Like it wasn't there when I first got there, but it kind of like, it was like the purple flower um, almost like opened it up or led me to that. I don't know. And I could see into it. There was like, I could see orange, like it almost looked like it was like the color of like the setting sun if I were to walk towards that. And So I continued in that direction, like, and and as I was getting closer, I could see that not only was it orange, but there were like these majestic mountains that were also similarly in color to the purple flower, but like bigger and like just maybe a little bit, it was like brighter. It was almost like a little bit, it was almost like like ultraviolet when it's like those purple lights, like it can glow in the dark kind of thing. Like the light
Hmm.
that the mountains were so like it was, I mean, once again, it was a cave and it was far away, but I could see like the difference between the orange and the purple. And I felt like it was calling me. And the message, like you wanted them to talk to me, to give me a message.
Hmm.
And the message that I received was, there's so much here for you. Like you're just getting like I felt like I was like I had just gotten to like I just found out about this like tunnely cave. Like I just got here and like that there was so much magic and there were like um I don't know, there were like there's like new unknown information in there and that I had to keep going. So I felt really excited that I had found this, and I wanted to learn more. Like I just found like how I felt was curious and excited, and I felt very much at ease, very much like I felt like there's enough time. There's enough time. Like this is going to need to take some time, and I have the time. Trying to think what other questions you gave me. I'm trying to think what else I can tell you. Wow, look at that. That's gorgeous.
Hmm.
And the temperature was like a perfect temperature. It wasn't like I wasn't cold. There was a little bit of like rustling of the leaves. Like there was like a little bit of like a breeze. Like it wasn't like the air was stale and just sitting, but it wasn't like it was very comfortable. And I felt like I could just keep going.
Hmm. You can read this, right? Or is it
I
mirrored?
can. There is so much here for you. Yes.
Okay, because on my picture it's mirrored. Yeah. So, what comes to mind with this message?
Well, it's funny. I consider myself like a student of life. I always like, no matter whether I teach, I still like to be a student as well. And I think that the message is saying, like, keep learning because, and also bring the student mindset with you. Because if you enter a room with the idea that you know everything, like, there's nothing there for you to learn. And I feel like there's always something to learn. And that's really exciting. So I just feel like there's so much more learning that's still available to me in this world. And some of it I don't even know about yet.
Hmm. What do you think the flowering trees and the especially the flower means?
Well, I'm a big uh, color person. I do identify a lot with color. And purple to me is magical. It's royal. It's a little bit witchy, and it's like the secrets will be revealed. So I feel like the purple is that I don't know, it's kind of like believe in the magic. It's like
Mhm.
and the world can be as magical as you want it to be. So I feel as though I can color my world however I want. And I love it's funny because my two favorite colors are purple and orange. And those were two of the main themes that came up with this. So I felt like that alone was a confirmation that I was in the right place.
Mhm. Yeah, I was thinking of flowers and blooming trees that, it's kind of the spring, like when stuff starts blooming, kind of like a beginning, right?
Yeah,
The beginning of something.
very much. Yeah. And and I also felt like it was kind of it's like I didn't have to have it all figured out. Like there it didn't like I didn't have to have that feeling of certainty. I know that sometimes that we feel stuck until we feel certain. And like I didn't feel like I just felt like all I needed to do was just be exactly where I was. Like that was enough. And like I didn't need to worry about making another decision, like that everything is unfolding in its right time.
Hmm. And then the path opening up to
Yeah.
this other realm.
And that the
Mm.
cave wasn't dark. It was actually lit, and it was like lit in these beautiful colors that I found to be very welcoming. So, it's like don't and I'm not saying like go ahead and keep walking into some dark caves. It's like I understand like you have to be careful when you're like out in nature just wandering in. You don't want to be like wandering in and finding a bear sleeping or something like that. But um, it was like and purple is like to me like the color of intuition, and it
Hmm.
was like follow your intuition and it will take you on the path.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe the cave is also kind of like this inner spaces. Mm.
Yeah.
Go
So
into the nooks and crannies of your inner world.
yeah,
Mm.
I love that. And I felt so like you did a great job with the with like the meditation and talking to me. I felt so calm and centered and grounded where I was. Like I wasn't interested in being anywhere but there.
Hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, that was lovely. That's a beautiful picture.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is kind of some of the work I do is, painting these or bringing these inner worlds out. Um, because then it becomes something more tangible.
Yeah.
It's not just inside of you, it's actually here, there.
Yeah, and what that's saying to
Mm.
me is like that even though I feel like I have come a long way from not telling anybody the work that I did, I still have a long way to go. Like I still have more work to do.
Hmm.
So and I think that what this saying that there's so much here for you, it's saying that there's things here for me to do, there's here for me to learn, and there's things that are here for me to teach.
Hmm.
And so it's not just one thing, it's a lot of things, but there's still so much. And like sometimes just when you think that you've reached the end of something, it just continues. So just
Hmm.
and I feel like I look at life as a big adventure, and I love this adventure. So I feel like it's kind of also telling me keep adventuring, keep going on this adventure, and follow the colors, follow the ones that light you up, follow what lights you up.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, yeah. So
Was there
this is
anything else that you kind of gleaned from my interpretations?
no, I think this, yeah, The only thing we haven't talked really about is maybe the water, But water is always kind of like life-giving, and there's flow. So I think that from a symbol perspective, that's usually my interpretation of water.
Yeah, water is emotional. I see that as, and water takes the shape of whatever it is that you put the water in. So like it takes the shape of the cup, it takes the shape of a bowl, like whatever the shape is. So maybe it says, like be aware of your emotions, like be aware of what you put out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are listening, people are watching, and people are learning from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and emotions are also a really, really big part of intuition.
Very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't actually see the water in my visualization. I heard it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the message is to, not just be aware that it's there, but to go and find it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I'll definitely send you this picture.
I will
So
take
you
it.
have
Maybe I'll
it.
frame it. Maybe I'll put it on my wall next to me and remind myself that there is so much here for me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what my art is for, is that anchor and reminder. Yeah.
I love how you fed it all in there. It's really beautiful.
All right. Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to tell our listeners? Maybe our listeners have a question. I'm gonna
Sure.
switch
Yeah.
back to my other camera so
Sure.
that oh wow, it worked
Well,
pretty
there you
fast.
are. You're like, why is my face so big on the screen? So I want to thank you, and I want to thank anyone who's listening. Like, if any part of this story resonated with you, or you feel called to connect with yourself in a deeper way, I'd love to stay in touch. I'm a big cheerleader for everybody, and I feel as though life is hard enough. We're not here to break each other down. We're here to build each other up. So you can find me. Most of my social media is my name. My website is my name, and I'm on Instagram as Dina Berrin, and also as on YouTube is that I have a lot of videos on YouTube. So you can certainly find me there. But whether you're just beginning and you're asking new questions, or you're ready for some real change in your life, I'd love you to be a part of my community. So thank you for letting me share this space and my story with you. And I'd love to just keep watching your journey as it unfolds, because you do beautiful work.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone,
Thank you.
and have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.